All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. And the elect begins with the 144,000. YAHAWAH, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah. BAHASHAM is in the name. YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The Rakakwadash shares the Holy Spirit. I'm the brother Iwalumya with the GMS Chicago camp out here in Chicago. Come back at you with another lesson. And Lord willing, I hope this lesson be edifying through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. Once again, I hope this lesson is edifying. And I'm just simply entitled this lesson, this devil is about to show us horns, man. Preferring to the so-called white man, or referring to the so-called white man. Because you have Donald Trump, this individual is casting a lot of legislation, writing different bills. The recent bill he ultimately signed that ultimately passed was the big, beautiful bill. Going into that bill, talks about, mass deportation, the cutting of these different benefits. And who is this going to target the most, man? Hey, you tribes, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Hey, so Esau Edom is showing his horns. Hey, it's Donald Trump just recently visited the newly built, as he's calling it, Alligator Alcatraz. Where he's planning to ship, illegal immigrants, which, consists of the Northern Kingdom, and ultimately, just, ship them to these different camps, ultimately, if they don't self-deport. And ultimately, as hell is coming upon the Southern Kingdom as we speak now, man. Mass deportation of the so-called Haitians, which comes from the tribe of Levi, lawyer in the Hebrew, so ultimately, hell, this devil is about to show us horns on a whole new level, man. They got this guy Donald Trump passing bills. Hey, and also was something that ultimately came out of bodies washing up on shore, chained up, because we know that these different cargo planes is ultimately sitting what these Edomites called illegal immigrants was, they are the Northern Kingdom, man. The Hispanics and the Native Americans. Ultimately, they're finding bodies shackled up, washing up on the seashore, man. So ultimately, this devil is about to show us horns, man. This is the book of Revelations 12:12. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe means destruction. It says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, and devil means adversary. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time, right? He's going to come down with that great wrath, man. Esau Edom is just going to go crazy on you tribes, man, knowing that he know his society is about to be done and over with, man. So he's going to do any and everything to ultimately to hold on to a society. So what? As we approach the end of the end, which we're at the end of the end right now, he's going to pass, more unrighteous decrees, more draconian laws, things of that nature, man. And it's going to be aimed at you tribes, man, because we still have a lot of, our people, that trust and believe in the so-called white man. You have those of our people of the Northern Kingdom thinking that they're so-called white, basically siding with Esau Edom, thought that Donald Trump was going to be the solution to their problems, man. Now look at them, man. ICE is coming after them, man. Hey, even the Southern Kingdom now, man. Hey, begin that Levi of the Southern Kingdom. It's going to eventually trickle down to Judah also, man, which are the so-called African Americans, man. Because also what they're trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. Hey, they said it's being reported that ultimately Americans is being taken out of the country, man. Being deported. Hey, so, we're coming into a time of Jacob's trouble, man. Hey, Daniel 12 says it's going to be a time like never before, man. So this devil is going to show us horns on a whole new level. Let's actually get this. This is the book of Revelations 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. What is those two horns, man? Hey, the Democrat and the Republican Party, man. It says, and he had two horns like a lamb, because a lamb is like what? It's peaceable. It's peaceable. When you look at a lamb, man. It says, and what? And he spake as a dragon, right? Those draconian laws, man. Because hey, both the Democrat and the Republican Party, man, it's a part of the same bird, man. They operate together. Because who ultimately, controls this society behind the scenes? Who controls the whole world? Who is behind the scenes? Hey, the elites of this society, man. You got a lot of, these dumb Americans said, if you would have voted for Kamala Harris, this thing would have never happened, man. Nah, but ultimately what? The Democrat and the Republican Party is a part of that same bird, man. It says he spake as a dragon, right? And that's what this guy Donald Trump is doing right now, man. Hey, the big, beautiful bill, which consists of mass deportation, man. things of that nature that ultimately is going to be targeted at you tribes, man. Hey, the cutting them snap benefits, things of that nature, man. So this devil is showing that he ultimately hates you, man. Let's actually get that unrighteous decrees. Isaiah 10:1. Let me grab it real quick. And this is the time that we're living in, man. This is the book of Isaiah 10:1. It says, woe means destruction. It says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees. And what is the decree? A decree is a law. It says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees. Who is passing these unrighteous decrees today, man? Hey, these Edomites, It says, in that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. That's what these Edomites ultimately do, man. Every wicked, law that they sign and put into effect, man, is aimed against our people, man, to keep our people oppressed and to keep our people, ultimately down, man. Keep our people in these different prison systems, man, and to keep our people behind bars. Basically use, these different wicked laws to keep our people, just down and out, man. Like I mentioned before, oppressed. And that's what this devil is doing, man. Because ultimately what? Because these at least know the prophecies, man, how ultimately YAHAWASHI is going to come back and take these devils out of power, man. They know that. So they're going to do any and everything to ultimately what? To ultimately to get rid of our people, man. Who ultimately they're going to come after, man? The prophets, And this is the time that we're living in, man. But the 2/3 of our people that still trust in this society, that think Esau Edom is their friend, man, hey, they're ultimately going to be taken, by this damn devil, man. And they're going to fall with Esau Edom. This is the book of Psalms 40. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. It says, preserve me from the violent man. Who is that violent man, man? Esau Edom, Because even in John, I believe it's John, it says, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy, man. That's Esau's nature, man. He's going to go back to that nature, man. He's going to fully show his horns, man. He's not going to hide it. He's going to show that he's the damn devil. And he's going to show that ultimately what? He never liked you in the first place. That's why Sirach 12 says, never trust thy enemy, man. But we still have a lot of our people that's going to trust Esau Edom regardless. It says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart, which is the mind. Continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent adders. Poison is under their lips, Salah. It says, keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who had purpose to overthrow my goings. All right, that's what Esau Edom plans to do, man. He plans to ultimately what? To try to get rid of our people, man. Hey, for 2/3 of our people, hey, Esau Edom, the Lord is going to use Esau Edom to get, rid of 2/3, of the nation of Israel, because they're the undesirables, man. And for their wickedness also, what? So the Lord is ultimately going to, use Esau Edom, as Psalms the 17th chapter said. Let's get it real quick. Because we know that Esau Edom is the Lord's whooping stick, man. And the Lord is going to use Esau Edom just to, just to raise havoc on you tribes, man. Of you that don't want to come back to the ways of YAHAWASHI. Let's see. Yep. Psalm 17:13. It says, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him. Has ultimately the Lord is going to disappoint Esau Edom, man, by ultimately bringing his new world order to naught, man. Because that's what ultimately this devil is trying to do, man. Everything we're currently seeing right now is ultimately to establish his new world order, ultimately to get everybody see-hip, pertaining to Revelations 13 and 16, man, which goes into the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, man. So the Lord is ultimately going to disappoint him by bringing his new world order to naught. It says, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked. Who is the wicked? Hey, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Malachi 1:4 says, they shall call them the border of wickedness, which is Esau Edom. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, right? So the Lord, YAHAWASHI, uses, Esau Edom as that whooping stick, man. We know what Esau's blessing is, man. Hey, Revelation 6, talking about that great sword. Hey, Genesis the 27th chapter, man. That's why, going into that Micah the 2nd chapter says what? They cover fields and take them by violence. And how does Esau Edom ultimately do that? By the way of his blessing, man. By the way of his sword. Ultimately, Esau Edom, the Lord is going to use Esau Edom to ultimately to wreak havoc, on you 2/3, man. That's why, when all hell breaks loose and when Esau Edom really comes down, man, as I read that Revelations 12:12, our people is not going to have that covering. Who's going to have the covering, man? The elect, Actually get that second Esdras. I ain't gonna make this too much of a long lesson. Just a few points. Those different things I mentioned with alligator Alcatraz. The big beautiful bill. Lord willing, I'm gonna go into those things in detail. Lord willing. But prophecy is speaking, man. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 16. And let's see. In verse 70, 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 70, it says, "For there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection," right, an uprising against the government. "For there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord." And it says, "They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord." And who ultimately fears the Lord, man? In this time, man, the hopeful right select. And ultimately Esau Edom is going to come down, to try to get us, man. But Isaiah 59:19, it says what? When they come down with great wrath, ultimately the Lord is going to lift up the standard against them. So ultimately Esau Edom can do nothing against us. Some of us may be beheaded, we're going to be martyrs, but ultimately Esau Edom, it's not going to get, the elect, man. He's not going to get at the elect like that. We're going to go through it, but ultimately what? The Lord is going to cover us and protect us. But for you 2/3, ultimately the Lord is going to use Esau Edom to get rid of you. "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses." Where I mentioned alligator Alcatraz, man. Ultimately Donald Trump ended up visiting, I believe a day or two ago or something along those lines. And he was just basically saying, like, if they try to escape, they're going to have to learn how to swim from an alligator, man. Just poking fun at the tribes, man. And just knowing the history of, Esau Edom just ultimately feeding our babies to alligators, that's a lesson I want to do, within the next few weeks, Lord willing. How ultimately Esau Edom fed our babies to alligators, man. That's the first thing I thought of when I had, read the headline, alligator Alcatraz, man. It says, verse 73, it says, "Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold and the fire." Right? Because what? When Esau Edom comes down with that great wrath, the Lord is going to lift up that standard for his elect, man. Lord, when we be of that number. But ultimately, Esau Edom is showing his horns, man. On a whole new level. That's actually ended out with that Sirach, the 12th chapter. Because even the Lord is showing, you Israelites, that this man is the damn devil. That you can't trust him, man. Because even Sirach says it. Sirach 12 and 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy." Who is our enemy, man? It mentions in the Psalms 83, but our number one enemy is the so-called white man. It says, Sirach 12 and 10, it says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away." Ultimately right, man. This is the same devil, that persecuted us back then. It's the same devil is going to persecute us even more now, man. Ultimately what? This devil has not changed, man. He's still the same devil. During the Grecian Empire, man, during the Roman Empire, even the second leg of the Roman Empire, which is America. It says, verse 11 says, "Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away." And our people is going to find that out the hard way when Esau Edom, uses his different guns that we never seen before, these robots, these drones, to ultimately to come at you tribes, man. Because Esau Edom, is going to be like a madman, sparing none, man. As I read in that 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, man. And the Lord, YAHAWASHI, is going to use Esau Edom, to come at you tribes, man, the wicked of our people. And this is the time that we're living in, man. Let's actually get that Daniel, the 12th chapter. I'm going to close out with that one. Daniel 12 and 1, it says, "And at that time shall Michael," right, the archangel Michael, "and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book." Right, preferring to, what's that, Jeremiah 30 and 7, talking about Jacob's trouble, man. "Alas, for that day as great as none like it. It's even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be delivered out of it." So ultimately what? Who's going to be delivered out of the hell that's to come, man? From the wrath that the Lord is going to bring using Esau Edom. Ultimately, the elect is going to be protected from these said perils, but 2/3 are going to be taken, by the different things that's to come, man. Which is Jacob's trouble, man. So just something I just wanted to dive into real quick. Lord, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to end out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstone that taught us this truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. Lord, I hope this lesson was edifying. Till next time, Kwam Yasharallah, Shalom, and the Baba Ba. Lord, until next time, so.